Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Apostate Weekly. I'm your host, James.
I'm Ryan.
And this week, we are talking about some nefarious things that the Watchtower organization is up to, like the removal of videos that depict how to properly shun others within their organization, as well as, yeah, right? We don't see you. You're evil. Don't
You know,
talk. And also what they're up to versus the Russian Federation. And Ryan, you have some stories coming at us too.
Yep, women's health care on the ballot.
Yes. So stay tuned for that. Let's go ahead and roll the intro and we'll get into this.
Good
Right.
morning.
Welcome back. It is Wednesday, October 30th. Tomorrow is Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
It's also, as my parents who are already in the chat know, my youngest son's birthday tomorrow. He'll be 9 years old.
Aw, happy early birthday.
So he truly is the devil's child.
The proof is in the date.
Dang right. Also, it's another day of commemoration when Pastor Russell passed away.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. He died on
So,
Halloween.
so yeah, the cult founder died on Halloween. How fitting.
Very fitting.
Good morning,
Spectacular.
Jay, Doc, Jenny. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you
Yes.
all are having a wonderful day.
Good to see you guys. Wakey, wakey. Time for
So
the news.
we got some news coming at you. Where would you like to start at? You want to start with women's rights this morning?
Sure, because this will be quick because I do talk about this quite regular. So if you all have been paying attention to the news, abortion bans all around the United States are starting to really get a bit more difficult for women to have, or anybody pregnant, basically, I should say, to get the health care that we need. So studies are showing now that infants are dying at higher rates after abortion bans in the US. So as these abortion bans get more restrictive, we are seeing more and more people dying from many different reasons. Honestly, some of them are birth anomalies, like issues with the child's development, because not every child develops the same. Or it could be that as the person carrying the child, you might have physical disabilities, be on medication, have heart problems, have cancer. I mean, there's so many things that can affect the outcome of having a healthy baby. And that is where the healthcare between you and your doctor would kick in to say, like, hey, carrying this baby to full term could actually be dangerous for you. Or, you could wind up having a child that might have a severe anomaly that might cause them to die soon after they are born. So what this study has revealed is that there's around a 56% increase in women deaths in Texas. So we know that Texas put in that heartbeat bill. So as soon as there's a heartbeat detected, you as the person carrying the child lose your rights. So in Texas, it is increased to 56%, whereas nationwide, where there still is some like better healthcare in some of these states, it's only 11%. That is a drastic increase. And now the child mortality rate has shot up by 12.9% because, again, as I said, these children are being born with deformities that, sometimes their lungs aren't developed, or some of their organs aren't developed, or their brain is just not working as it should be to be able to perform all the functions to keep the baby alive. So all of these issues are affecting the outcomes of women's lives too. So not only has the infant mortality increased, but so has the maternal death rate So on this tab here, there has been an increase. Let's see. Okay, between 2014 and 2021, the maternal mortality rates in the US have nearly doubled from 16.5% to 31.8%, with the largest increase of 18.9 to 31.8 occurring from 2019 to 2021. And what happened during those years? This is when we were seeing all of these heartbeat bills, or the lack of healthcare for women who are pregnant, and the increase of heart failure, stroke, cardiovascular disease, hypertension. There's so many reasons that not everybody is built to carry a child, but under these laws, we're being forced to carry them to term, regardless if that means the child will die instantaneous, or if the child will die inside of you and you have to carry them until you bleed out enough or are close enough to being septic or dying to get health care.
And if you remember when Roe v. Wade was overturned, a lot of these states had what they called trigger laws in place for
Mm-hmm.
just such the occasion, because they knew that this was going to happen. So they had these trigger laws in motion already. So when Roe v. Wade was overturned, boom, these laws could go into effect right away. There was no hesitation. And so that's why we have seen such an instant impact of these laws hurting women and children, and especially in those trigger law states.
Yeah. It's very disheartening that people aren't taking this seriously, and they don't seem to care. That could be your daughter. Like,
Yeah.
we see it in the movies, like, oh, the pregnancy just goes perfect, everything's great. That's not reality, and that's not real life. And I don't feel like women should have to pay the price and die so a man can get his rocks off.
And I'll put it this way, as a man, I'm never going to be in the situation to have to make that decision for myself or for a child. And that is why these laws are important to have, and women's rights for abortion are important to have, because you all have the possibility of being in a situation that I will never be in, nor will I ever understand being in. So men should not be making laws on your bodies, because we have no capacity to understand your situation, and because your situations vary so greatly in life, there is no possible way one blanket banning law can
Mhm.
be good for anyone. That's why
No.
you need the choice.
It's not, it isn't healthy. And as your mom said, that it doesn't, abortion bans affect not only women, but also the men who love them, their families,
Yes.
doctors, and other healthcare,
Yes.
right? Like, you now, as a healthcare worker who maybe believes that abortion is the right thing to do, the right and proper healthcare for this situation, but it's out of your hands. And now you, as the person who knows the right procedures to do, are not allowed to do them, and you have to agree to let somebody die in front of you. So this affects everybody who is involved, and especially the families and the mom. The moms are losing their lives, and these kids are losing their moms simply because some dude wants to force her to have a baby.
And all you got to do is look at the stats of what infant mortality was like and abortions were like before Roe v. Wade was passed.
Yeah.
There's the old cliche, and I know this is true, about coat hangers and women using them for abortions. And because of that, women were literally dying off trying to have these abortions that, for whatever reason they had, because they couldn't take care of a child in one way or another. And
Mhm.
they risked their lives by using the coat hangers in whatever capacity they had to. And so when these laws went into effect, it made their lives so much safer and healthier. And now all we're doing by overturning this is we're going back in time. We're not moving forward. And this is just absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, it's all intentional. They want women to die. They want women to be under the thumb of some man, in the charge of some man. And the thing is even as your dad said, like, Even if the man
Yeah,
helps, he's gonna be in trouble too. So even the man doesn't necessarily have the authority in the relationship. Your government or your governor has
yeah.
the authority to tell you what to do in your relationship.
And yet, with all this, let's just say the baby is born and the mom and baby are healthy. They have not put into any laws to help our healthcare system or daycare or anything after the child is born. All they give two shits about is the child being born. After that, they don't care. Hell, this is not meant to be funny, but I, they don't care if the child is aborted at their school by mass shootings either.
No, and that's I don't think you're being funny. I think you're being very honest, and I think you're showing this weird dichotomy of how like, "Oh, it's about safety for the kids," but no, it's not,
No.
because you'll happily put the gun in the hands of a crazed person or child who then goes to their school and shoots everybody up, including teachers and, the workers there, not just the children. Everybody is being affected. All these decisions affect all of us as a society, and it really is disheartening to me to see women, especially, who aren't getting how dangerous this is. Because, honey, that's going to be your baby girl one day.
Yeah,
I know we
exactly.
love to believe that, like, oh, God protects women when they're pregnant, and the baby's going to be born so happy and healthy, and it's all just this joyous occasion. Yeah, right. Live in reality.
Yeah.
Please come
Even the
back.
most faithful of believers have problems with children and childbirth and pregnancy and all that.
The healthiest people can die during, like,
Yeah.
there's no scientific rule about who lives and dies when it comes to having a child. It just is what it is, and it should be between you and your healthcare provider.
Yep. And that's all it should be between, you
Yeah.
know, and that's just that. So I
And that's
think
all I
that
have to say about that.
okay. Yeah,
That's
me
all I
too.
got to say. Can you
I
please not
mean, we
kill
we
us
could
women, please?
we could talk way more about this and everything. The fact of the matter is it is election season. So get out there and vote for the people who will give women the most rights.
And this is gonna be in our local, you guys, because as you can see, I mean, I don't feel. I mean, I'm not gonna get into politics, but I don't think that either of the candidates that we're looking at now care particularly about women's health and women. So we really have to start at the local level, trying to get involved and letting them know how important it is that at the state level, that we protect our rights, because we really don't know what's going to happen on the federal level anymore.
Yes. And I actually want to say one last thing about this too. And this is what I'll tell the most ardent of believers. You know, I don't care if you believe abortion is murder or what your beliefs are on it. Okay. If you believe that there's a God up there that watches and judges everybody and also has given everybody free will, then quit making laws to hurt these women. Let them make their choices and let your God judge them. You quit being the judge, because that's all you're doing is being the judge
Mhm.
by trying to push these laws down people's throats.
Yep. And it's not for you to judge. You can't judge every person in the United States, across the globe, or for anywhere for that matter. So why don't you keep
Exactly.
your eyes on your own life and worry about yourself?
Yep. And vasectomies for all men.
Right? Hey, man, I'm down for it.
Oh,
Let's do
wait,
it.
wait a minute. You want to touch me? Oh no, no, we ain't gonna do that.
That's a problem.
Yeah. What was it? I There was this meme I saw. If altar boys could get pregnant, the Catholic Church's stance on abortion would be completely different.
Oh, fuck. That is sad, but honestly true. I
Yeah,
really think that is true. Ugh, gross.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move along then, shall we?
Moving along.
Moving
Is this
along.
topic happier? Less
um,
depressing, James?
Maybe
Okay.
we're gonna talk about the Russian Federation.
In Russia, we ask the questions here.
So, in Russia, from Russia with love, the
Yeah.
Watchtower Society has decided to go against them legally. And as you can see, this is from jwleaks.org. And this is, to me, it's kind of funny because, first of all, right now, the leader of Russia doesn't seem to give two shits about what anybody thinks about him or their laws or what they do. So, I mean, you look at their attack on Ukraine, they didn't care. They've amped it up. They didn't care. Nothing has stopped them from continuing to do what they want to do. So, when it comes to a religion like the Watchtower organization, and they categorize them as an extremist group and, have overtaken their assets and everything, which again, I still don't agree with. But I also don't think that Watchtower legally is going to have a leg to stand on when it comes to this situation. They're trying. I'm giving them, I mean, try all you want. Here's where your voluntary donations are going, witnesses, is to Watchtower trying to get your stuff back in Russia. I don't think it's
Right.
going to be very successful, but I also don't disagree with them trying to get their stuff back either, because
Mm-mm.
I do think that was bad of them to do that to the witnesses. So here's what they're seeking. Here's the extract from the complaint here. It says this action arises out of and seeks a remedy for one, Russia's unlawful expropriation of Watchtower's property, as well as two, the direct harms Russia has caused the Watchtower to suffer in the United States through its commercial activities since the expropriation. The facts giving rise to this case, however, are part of a broader, documented, and widely condemned campaign of discrimination and persecution of Jehovah's Witnesses by the Russian Federation. Currently, there are 137 Jehovah's Witnesses, men and women, ages 27 to 73, incarcerated in Russia for terms spanning 2 months to 8 years due to their religious activity. And then they go a little into the history and try to say that they're a charitable organization, which is a bunch of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But yet they continue to harp on, the illegality of this matter and the conduct. What strikes me, though, the most right here, though, is in this first paragraph here that I just read, because it says the direct harms Russia has caused Watchtower to suffer in the United States through its commercial activities since the expropriation. So, are you telling me that you're more concerned about your reputation and how you look than your own people?
Mm.
Because that's exactly what this is saying, because that is first. Then it goes on to say, currently there are 137 witnesses, men and women, that are incarcerated, but it doesn't say anything about the harms that it has done to those men and women that
Mm-hmm.
are incarcerated for sticking up for the religion. All they care about is the harms that it's caused the Watchtower in the United States to suffer.
Yeah, they are the perpetual victims. The organization, they're not even a consideration for what these families or people were going through who've lost their jobs, maybe lost their families, their homes, whatever reputation they might have, in their community, simply because of being a Jehovah's Witness. And the Jehovah's Witnesses are just like, oh, well, that's what you're supposed to do for Jehovah. Yeah, you should do that. No big deal.
And in some ways, I almost think that Watchtower is in a way shooting themselves in the foot. Let's say they win this case. Okay? Let's just say they win it. They're shooting themselves in the foot if they win this. And here's how. Because now, if they win, all their persecution porn will go out the window.
True.
Because they love to claim how persecuted they are and look at Russia and look at what Russia's doing to us. Of course, it's only Russia in the whole world that's really doing anything to them as far as
Right.
this extent Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
we had Norway that removed the religious status. We got Lithuania that's working on it. That's nothing compared to what Russia
This
is
is like
actually doing
jail
by
time.
seizing their
Yeah.
assets and
Yeah.
imprisoning people. So
Mhm.
this is like absolute, like off the charts, persecution porn for them to use in their propaganda. So if they win this case, they lose all the persecution propaganda that they
True.
have going on.
True. And they could make some adjustments so that way the witnesses aren't being arrested. There's other ways they could go about it too if the government isn't going to let up. But
Yeah,
they won't do that because they want to prove the point. They want to look like they are, the victims.
of course. You know,
Poor
It-
baby.
they gotta they gotta keep going to their meetings and keep preaching no matter what.
Yep.
You know, I mean, like seriously, if you really have this Almighty God behind you, why would He really care if you stop preaching? Let's go ahead, stop. Don't put yourselves in harm's way for me because I got you. I'll take care of you. But no,
Mhm.
we got to keep doing this to make ourselves stand out even more. And for what? What are you proving?
I really don't know that you will happily try to go up against a government.
Yeah,
For what? To prove what? I don't get I really don't understand the urgency just to prove a point. Again, it just all comes back to they want to be the one who is being abused or being harmed.
yeah. So, you know, if if you want to take a look at this, there's a lot more to read on this. Obviously, we're not going to read it all, but I'll have the link in the description in the show here. But go check it out, take a look at it, and as I always encourage you to do, form your own opinion on what you think about the situation as well, because my opinion may not always align with what yours is, and that's okay.
It's okay. It's okay, James. It's okay.
Even though my opinion's the right one, it's still
Yeah.
okay.
Even though our opinion is the better opinion, we will still allow you to have your other opinion.
We'll allow you the free will to have your opinion.
Yes, we're gonna give you your
But if it
own.
doesn't align with ours, we're going to punish you.
Well, I mean, of course, then there's got to be punishment. Like,
Of
come on,
course.
be real.
You will no longer be able to apostate your way if you disagree with us.
Oh no! Don't take away my apostability.
Possibility.
Yeah, that's my apostability.
It's like the Pastafarians.
It's impossible.
Kim Pastable.
Yeah, there you go. Impossible.
All right. So, shall we move on to the creme de la creme of today's show?
Creme de la creme. Yes.
So, Watchtower has been getting rid of their more extreme shunning videos off their website.
Delete.
Gee, I wonder why.
Hmm.
Like, here's the problem though. Doesn't matter how much they remove of it. They're out there. They're not going anywhere. Just because they're not on your website doesn't mean people don't have them.
Right.
You
And
know, it's
and
like
and your markings are all over them. So there's no denying that it was ever a JW film.
ex- exactly. It's just like all the old literature that they won't put up on the JW library
Yeah.
that we still have
Comparison.
access to and can
Mhm.
read. Just because it's not on the library doesn't mean we don't have it and can
Well, we
still show
got
you
rid of
the
it,
old
so
crap.
it doesn't exist anymore, and that means it didn't affect people because we got rid of it.
And the
That's how it
best thing,
works, right?
yeah. And the best thing about the apostates who save it is we will save all the original versions of it. So if there's any times where they say, you know what, maybe we should go change some words in a watchtower or something here and there to make it less bad than what it
You can try.
was, you know, it's still out there, the
Mhm.
original forms, and it ain't going nowhere. You might not be able to find it on jw.org, but you will find it out there, just
Yep.
like with these videos. And let me just share with you one of the videos, and this is going to be a minute long clip of one of the videos that they have already gotten rid of. And I'm sure everybody will remember this one from the 2016 convention. Let's check it out.
It was the Bible account of Aaron. Jehovah directly judged two of Aaron's sons and put them to death. In this case, Jehovah asked Aaron and his family not to mourn in order to show the entire nation that they supported Jehovah's judgment. Mom and Dad saw that they needed to be loyal, just like Aaron. They loved me and wanted me to come back to Jehovah. I tried to contact them. I just wanted to talk and to hear their voice. I missed being with my family. And they thought about reaching out to me. But they knew that if they had associated with me, even a little, just to check on me, that small dose of association might have satisfied me. It could have made me think that there was no need to return to Jehovah.
By the way, special thanks to Jonathan for helping me get this clip this morning. I appreciate you, man. So this is just absolutely asinine. This really shows how extreme they are on their shunning policy. You're muted. I can't hear you, Ryan.
Oopsie, your parent can't even answer the phone because it might give you an inkling that they care, that there's hope for a relationship. Like, what the hell?
It is so insane. I mean, I know we go through it with my in-laws. You know, there'll be times when my wife will text her parents. Sometimes they'll text her back. Other times they won't. They will barely answer the phone when she calls. And I mean, they still do once in a while. So it gives her like this little bit of kind of hope. But
Right.
we're realistic enough to know it's not there because they're just so full of themselves in this religion. Even with the lightening of the rules, even more so, they're still that way, you know? And it's just so sad because why can't you show your own children that you love them and care for them? Aren't you supposed to be a loving organization? You know, if I'm feeling kicked out and kicked to the curb and denied, you're not making me want to come back to you. You're making me want to stay the hell away from you. And that's exactly what disfellowshipping has done to so many people, has made them want to stay the hell away from that organization. And also, sadly, it has caused many people to unalive themselves as a result.
Absolutely. You know, as a child growing up with your family, whether they're believers or non-believers, that is all you know. Like that's the only life that you understand is, you know, your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters, or whatever, grandma, grandpa. And then one day the rug is just pulled out from underneath of you. And those people who are supposed to be family, now that familial bond is broken because you're not allowed to behave like a family. You're not allowed to ask how you doing, even if you just kept it strictly just normal societal things and didn't talk about religion. They're just removing your support system from you, and it's so nonchalant, like as if it's not supposed to mean anything to you as a child losing your parents. Like, and as a parent losing your child, that's probably one of the most difficult things in this world that anybody could ever experience, as a parent losing a child. Regardless if they're still alive, you just can't talk to them. It's like they're dead.
Yes. And Kayford really hit it right on the head here. Doesn't deleting a video show they don't have Jehovah's backing to start with? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I'd say so.
So does all their flip-flopping of doctrine and, you know, changing it. Like, if you really had God's backing and God's given you the truth, it ain't going to change. It ain't going to go back and forth. It ain't going to be wishy-washy. It's going to be, this is what it is. But what really gets me, though, with that video is how they use the example of, you know, Moses and Korah, and, you know, how God executed these children and nobody was supposed to mourn over them. They were commanded not to mourn, you know, to show their, you know, solitude with God and his decision. It's like, what kind of screwed up God are you all following? don't mourn a child that you just murdered on me?
Right. And I'm not supposed to feel anything?
I'm like,
What the hell kind of world is this? That makes no kind of sense to me. Then what's the point of having any kind of attachment if God should just take it away just like that? What's the purpose?
and now you're using that as a reason to hardcore shun your own children now. Like, it's just, it's such a screwed up mindset to make people treat their children that way. And I can vouch for how screwed up of a mindset it is because I shunned my own parents like that for several years because of this damn organization.
Right. It will cause separation between families because you want to do the right thing. You want to please Jehovah, but these are all unnatural. None of this is categorized as something that would be a normal situation to treat a family or anybody, a friend like that. Just cut them off for that matter. Unless somebody did something against you, then, of course you have every right to put up a boundary and say like, hey, I don't want to be associated with you. This causes harm to me. But that's not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with somebody that has their own situation. Maybe, okay, let's say the issue is they slept with somebody. That is for that person to figure out and the person that they slept with. Why does Sister Mary have any responsibility to what I do in my life? If anything, what would be kind is if you had somebody there to support you to say like, hey, everything's going to be okay. But instead you just get complete cut off. That's not love.
Well, it's like I had this friend who had this addiction and they kept disfellowshipping him in the organization because of it. He actually went out and sought professional help for it on his own while he was kicked out. So he did more for himself than the elders ever did for him. And even to this day, he says, yes, the elders have no love. He sees that clear as day. And actually, I'm proud to say that he no longer considers himself a Jehovah's Witness. So that's amazing.
Whoop, whoop. Congratulations.
Yes. But the fact of the matter is the elders don't help people when they have problems. They just kick them out. Yes, exactly, Jonathan. Exactly.
Really, some of the logic seems very much the same. Let's pretend it didn't happen. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, that is actually all I got for today. And I think we'll go ahead and leave it at that, unless you had anything else you wanted to add, Ryan.
Actually, just really quickly, I'm just going to throw something onto the stage since Jonathan brought it up. I just wanted y'all to know that $22.76 billion has been sent to Israel for this war. So when you don't have the proper kind of care in your county, whether that be the roads are shit, whether that be I don't know, maybe the schools are struggling. There's no places for your child to go to hang out, to have fun. Whatever issues you're having in your town, just remember your government cares so much about you that they would rather spend $22.76 billion on blowing up children than helping us here in the United States.
I've heard it's been said that if the government spent $20 billion, they could solve the homeless problem in our country.
Yeah. There's been studies or whatever you can call it, research that would show like with this amount of money, we could actually, there's plenty of housing. The issue in this country isn't that there's a lack of housing. We have an overabundance of housing. But the problem is that we've had all these rich people buy up all the real estate. And now you and I are just at their whim to whatever rent costs or whatever housing costs they want to make us pay. It's freaking wild. And homelessness is now something that you can go to jail for.
Yeah, and that's just disgusting. Like
what are we doing in this country? What is happening?
Okay, I'm homeless. I can't help it. You're going to put me in jail. Oh, so you're giving me a home with some meals? Not an ideal one, obviously, but still, it's just, again, backwards thinking from little people who don't grasp the whole scope of a problem.
It's well, honestly, it's intentional. It's legalized slavery. Slavery never ended. The Inquisitions never ended. You know, the Crusades into the Inquisitions into colonization. These have all just flowed, and we've just kind of changed the name of these horrendous acts that we commit. But it's still the same. It's still the same stuff. Like it's never ended. All the bad stuff has never ended. It just changes hands, and I think it's all intentional.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Mr. Government, this is what I got to say to you. And that's all I got to say.
You need to add that part to the intro song. Welcome.
Welcome to the show. Good to see you. We're going to direct traffic. You can just sit over there and just have your little sheet right there. And make
You're
sure
number one.
Push that like. Thank you. Thank you. Sure. Oh, you guys. Well, I appreciate y'all coming and listening and being open-minded because, you know, we don't always have possibly the same political viewpoints. Nobody probably ever will. But I think that we can come to understanding on the same grounds with some of this stuff. It's just not cool. And there is better ways. It doesn't have to be this or that black and white thinking. We can realize that maybe none of us are doing it the exact same right way. And we need to meet somewhere in the middle.
And, you know, with a lot of these subjects like abortion and other things, there's a lot of nuance to these conversations and to these topics. Okay.
Right.
I may have my opinion, you have your opinion, but there's still a lot of areas in between from one end of the spectrum to the other that I don't think I'll ever fully understand, you know, and I'm open to learn. I'm open to change my mind when I get better information. And that's the attitude I try to keep in my life, is to keep growing like that and not just be stuck in some old, you know, 1950s way of thinking and never move on, and rather try to drag people back with me. I want to move forward. I want to learn. I want to grow. And I hope that with this show, we help others to do the same thing and empower you to do the same as well.
I love that. And I love that we can possibly motivate people to feel that way, because we can get a lot more accomplished together, realizing we have a lot of commonalities and same goals. We're unfortunately listening to these rich folk with authority and power pit us against each other instead of building that common ground, which is, you know, we all want good jobs, we all want good homes, and we all probably want better infrastructure for our children.
And we all want good health care.
Yeah, we deserve good health care.
So I think on just those grounds alone, 99% of the country is in agreement with. You know,
we just don't know how to get there.
What our backgrounds is. Exactly.
Right. Yep. We're a very diverse group, but in our hearts, I think that we all can agree that we want what's best for our children or for our family. And freaking restricting our abortion. Yeah. All these restrictions it's not helpful. People deserve the freedom to choose, again, as long as it's not harming somebody else. We all deserve a right to our own body, you know?
Yes, we do. So with that being said, thank you all for joining us. We love y'all. We hope you have a great week, and we will see you next week when we bring you more of the latest and greatest news from Apostate Weekly.
The cultiest news you ever wanted to hear. Don't forget to apostate your way.
Yep. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.